Hey, and welcome to episode 15 of Right Hand Drive Guys. Today, we're going to talk about Up Garage and Autobox and our experience in Japan with each. I'm Bobby, this is Aaron.
Yo.
Let's get into it. So, when we were getting ready to go to Japan, one of the things that we wanted to do was hit up the infamous Up Garages and Autobox. Like I'm sure many of you who maybe are about to head there or want to head there have in their plans also. It was mainly an Aaron thing because he had known a lot about it and had wanted to do the traditional search through the parts, right?
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, it's
When in
like one of the
Japan.
fun things, to do. And so I didn't know a ton about it. I had obviously heard of Up Garage and Autobox, but wasn't really sure what the chances of finding anything were. And so I know, Aaron, you got a few little fun facts about these places that you can share with us just to give a little history of what Up Garage and Autobox actually is.
Absolutely. We'll start with Autobox. Autobox, I've always saw their logo playing Gran Turismo because they sponsored a bunch of GT 500 cars and things of that sort. So I'd always seen the brand, never knew what it was for the longest, but then eventually found out it's a car parts store, right? And they're pretty big, like probably the size of an American Walmart, and they're just stacked completely full of any parts you would need for your car, and they also do services and things like that.
Detail, like pretty much a one-stop shop for any of that stuff. They sell new wheels, like just a lot of different stuff that you could have done there. Like we almost had the GTR detailed there because it was like 3,000 yen for an interior and like 4,500 yen for an exterior.
Yeah, pretty.
And they
pretty
do
decent.
it on the spot. Yeah,
and they also a couple locations actually sell cars too. Like the first location we stopped at, they had a full showroom with the S2000 and I think a 350Z.
Yeah.
Just a few cars like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Autobox. I mean, they back in the 90s they also built a car with Tommy Kyra, which was kind of cool through like another sub company. But
I notice they do a lot with brands like that. Like the Gordon Miller is a brand over there, and they collabed with Autobox and have like a whole half of the store with like custom Gordon Miller vehicles. And
that was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
I've never even heard of that brand, but I guess that's like some sort of like
upfit type.
Upfit, like off-roadish kind of.
Like Rocky Ridge or what is it?
Something like that.
Yeah, that we have here, that takes GMs and upfits them.
Right.
Gordon Miller was kind of doing that to some of the K cars.
Right. And, having like what is it called? Overlanding, I guess you would say. That's what they call it here. But yeah, that was cool to see, and just seeing all the, just all the different brands all under one roof and all these brand new parts. So yeah, I mean, that's a little background on Autobox. Up Garage started in the late 90s, and they pretty much buy and sell used parts, and they're trying to keep the enthusiast, the enthusiast in it pretty much by buying and selling these parts for cheap. So they also sell new parts, and they have pretty much the most randomest things you would ever be able to find in Japan, but along with some very common parts. Like I think every single location had a set of new things like defi gauges and like just random wheels or lug nuts and just random parts like that.
So basically, this was on our itinerary. So we, our second week, we really started hitting them. We dropped off Amber at the airport, and we just literally right after that just started hitting the Up Garages. And I think the first day after we had the camper, we just went to Up Garages all day. Started over by Narita Airport and just started hitting every single Up Garage on our way west. And same with Autobox. Any Autobox that was kind of on the way, we also stopped at. So I think that first day, we went from like sun up to sundown, just going to all these places, and I think we probably visited 7 or 8.
Right. And it was pretty wild, the variance of, parts that you would find in Up Garages. Like, the first one we went to, it had, right off the rip, I saw like an S13 OEM aero bumper, which is pretty rare. Like a set of GTR headlights, just a few like random parts. I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's cool. Like, is this what it's going to be like? And then we'd go to another one and it was complete bust.
Yeah, like nothing like
nothing
that we would be interested in. So again, part of the background of us doing this was Aaron was thinking, like I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking, that maybe he could find some parts, get an extra carry-on, bring some stuff back,
right.
whatever. Like, I think that's what a lot of people think when they head over there. Let's look for these parts. Let's bring them back, And so, yeah, I mean,
that's tough.
That's tough because you might strike it rich and find something, and it might be a bust. And so, yeah, and it's also hard because if you're hitting 7 of these things and you find something decent at the first one, you're like, okay, wait, what could be at the next 6?
Right.
But then if the next 6 have nothing and you didn't grab the thing at the first one, like, it's really hit or miss.
Yeah, like, for instance, I was looking a lot at steering wheels because that's one of those things that's kind of universal. It would be an easy sell back home. And if you could get it for a cheap deal, like, why not, right? And one of the first, or I think it was the second one we stopped at, had a Nardi classic 360 millimeter wheel, a little beat up. It's probably around $150. Almost bought it, but I was like, $150 seems a little steep. It's a little worn out. Waited, and we literally went to the next one. They had pretty much the same exact wheel except newer condition, and for $50 cheaper. So I was like, why not? So I bought that for sure because that was $100. It's a mint wheel. You could easily either one, use it or sell it.
Right. The flip.
Right.
Yeah. So that was kind of our game plan with those, with the Up Garages, because of the used parts, was, okay, what can we find that this guy can flip? But again, that proved to be very, very tough. But we did see a lot of cool stuff, just maybe not stuff that was worth it for you to flip. Like a bunch of the... Like
the price wasn't there.
Yeah, like the GTR, the R32 headlights. We saw those in 4 different Up Garages we went to. We saw...
Even saw a set of N1 headlights at one of them, but wasn't a set. It was a 2 right of them. I was like, damn.
So, and then we saw some Supra headlights, and we saw the aftermarket MFD for the R34, and we saw some things, some what else, some JZX100 taillights, like just different stuff, but again, hard to take back in a suitcase without knowing that you got the flip waiting at home.
Yeah. Same with like coilovers and stuff. They had, coilovers at every single one for popular chassis, for R chassis, S chassis. And, they even had like the optional Nismo stuff at a few of them. I was like, that's pretty cool, but like, could you sell that? I mean, for a profit on top of what they're asking? Not really. There's like, on most things, there's not much wiggle room on that price, even with the exchange rate being what it is. So that made things a little bit harder. And, plus you're not finding rare parts every single time you walk into one of these places.
No, we walked in and walked out of many of them, like without seeing anything worth even really kind of like getting excited about. And with the Up Garage, it's like they have up garage wheels, up garage riders,
Right.
and then up garage. And so sometimes these would be like a 3-in-1. Sometimes it would be like a solo store.
Right.
It really just depended on which one we went to.
Right. I think there was one in Nagoya, the whole downstairs and little section of the upstairs was all car parts. But then 90% of the upstairs was all motorcycle stuff, like
And bicycle.
Yeah,
it was
it was
wild.
wild, yeah, and like everything for motorcycles too, like fairings, wheels, engines, like everything. It was kind of crazy to have all that under one roof, and like just thinking of how you even inventory all that is just like
And price it.
and price it. And
Yeah, there was like crazy things like S2000 hardtop, like
Right.
yeah, R32 GTR hood,
right,
like just things that you don't expect to be in this random up garage.
right.
Yeah,
Like who sold this?
Yeah, literally.
What did
Yeah,
this come off of?
do they just like go through junkyards or like how do they?
Right.
I'm not sure on that. But yeah, so it was kind of one of those things with the up garages where we were hitting every one that we could. If we saw one, we were stopping at it. We arrived at multiples 10 minutes before close and just zoomed through there just in case, and then we saw and we didn't get a chance to stop into them, and we heard that they were somewhat comparable were the yellow hats.
Yeah.
That's maybe more of an auto box.
Right. More new parts.
New parts. But we didn't get a chance to stop at one of those. And then there was also iParts.
Yeah, which was like, they looked like they built them at an old up garage location. Like,
yeah.
You could tell they were definitely biting off them because their building was yellow, just like the up garages. The way it was all
Set
like,
up.
yeah, the way it was all set up was like, these guys are definitely ripping off up garage. Like, what is going on here?
And so we, one of our nights, we got to hit the main up garage, which is like a beautiful building with awesome signage and like bright colors. Yeah, right in Tokyo. They had parking garage with a food truck, and then they had their car sales division like right across the street.
Right.
That was a cool spot.
Yeah. This is like, I think it's one of the newest ones. It's like the mega store.
Yeah.
And a lot of the YouTubers have covered that place. I've seen it in plenty of videos. And yeah, it was huge. I think it's 4 levels.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, and they definitely had a good selection of stuff in there. If, it was what you were looking for, like for instance, a set of N1 turbos for an RB26, like S15 turbos. That was the one that was the place that I saw the N1 R32 headlights.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And they also had a full section of like used tools, new and used tools.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, it's crazy. I went and looked over there, and there was just stuff like I felt like was from the 80s. Like some of it like plug-in like tools that like were just like super dated, but like I felt like probably you could find those in a lot of shops in Japan still, you know. But yeah, that place was like beautiful, and they had like some amazing. They had like 2 or 3 aisles just of used seats.
Yeah.
Let alone like everything else,
Yeah, and that was another thing. All these places had a decent selection of seats, and
some of them were sick.
Right, and I couldn't even look at them because I know I'd get bummed out because I was like, I don't want to take that home. But
they won't let you mount that to the airplane seat and just chill.
No, they won't.
So, yeah, I mean, it was cool. And one thing that, I guess my takeaway was there was a lot of 86 parts. Like, I saw more 86 parts than I saw, like, anything. Like, there would be just something that fit in 86 in every aisle, I felt like, compared to, like, maybe, like, GTRs, especially Honda, like, B-Series stuff. There was, like, nothing.
Right.
There was no Honda B-Series stuff or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which was pretty interesting because I figured you would just see a lot of that stuff.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I thought you would have too, and I don't know. I think with Kruber coming online in the past several years, I think that has kind of killed the like parts finder vibe, I guess, at of garages, because anyone anywhere can just get on the internet, get on Kruber, search what part they want, and find it at whatever up garage, and they'll ship it out.
Right.
So I think that has kind of like
made it harder.
Yeah, it's definitely made it harder, and it's kind of killed that aspect, because especially on small parts that they can ship easily.
Yeah.
You know, that it kind of drove the price up a little bit on some of these parts, and just kind of the selection's not there like it used to be, because as soon as it goes on Kruber, someone has saved that search somewhere, and they're buying it immediately, and it's getting shipped out.
Yeah.
So I think that, is kind of...
Makes sense, right? Like,
Right.
And that's probably something that Up Garage had to do to remain competitive in, 2023.
Yeah, and it makes total sense.
For them, business-wise, yeah.
Right, I mean, and also, there's over 150 locations of Up Garages. So those places are scattered all over.
Just since 99.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
There's so many of them. And they're even expanding to, like, Southeast Asia now and stuff like that, too. So it's pretty wild to think that, a company that started out for, like, the enthusiast to buy and sell used parts has, like, expanded the entire country and to others.
Yeah, definitely.
And
much
expanded,
respect to them.
Yeah, and expanded online to be able to serve the entire world and ship out these parts and do their thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. So one thing I noticed, because what I was looking for whenever I went in one of these was something I knew I was never going to find, but it just made it fun for me to be able to, kind of have something to look for. Is I was looking, so I'm not happy with the wheels on my GTR.
Yeah.
They're TE37s with a polished lip.
Great spec, though.
Yeah, they're GTR spec, but they just are ugly. So I was looking for LMGT4s, which I knew I would never find in an Up Garage, but
Right.
it just gave me, again, just something, to go in and, like, search for. And so I'm, like, mentally cataloging these wheels in each place, just in the sense of, like, what they fit, what they are, going through it like you'd be looking through anything. And what I noticed is there may be a lack of B-Series parts, but there's a ton of wheels for Hondas at these Up Garages.
Yeah.
Like, tons of wheels. Like, sweet wheels, too. Like, not just, like, lame ones. Like, nice wheels. So what I'm looking around, I'm like, Honda. I'm like, damn.
But not much for the Nissans.
No, like, not much for the Nissans. A lot for the 86s, too.
Right.
Like, there would be a dope set of TE37s, and they'd be in 86 spec.
Right.
But for Nissans, no, not really. You'd see, like, a few wheels that were, like, for, like, the new R35 GTRs or something.
Some Twankies.
Yeah, but not, like... Definitely not anything GTR spec.
Right. Anything in like a 17x9 or 18x9, 18x10, anything in that similar spec with a low offset was
gone. Just not there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, that was the thing is like, it's cool and they're great places, but, you kind of got to be knowing what you're looking for and be experienced enough to not waste your time going there for something that you
right and having your phone out with Translate on to read the tags.
Yeah.
You might be able to read R32, R33, or RB26 on these tags, and that might let you investigate a little more. But yeah, it's kind of hard, and it's very time consuming trying to look up these parts and then looking up the value and then seeing what the last one sold for and then doing the yen conversion to see if that even makes sense of buying it. And
right, yeah, you're really having to do the work. Like, really what you would want to do probably, right, which would be ideal, is if you could have the camper outside set up as a little office and you just, like, took a picture of everything that you thought was interesting and went out and did all your research in the camper.
Yeah, and then come back in if it's worth it.
Yeah, buy it. Yeah. Instead, because otherwise, like, I'd come around the corner and you'd be standing there.
Yeah, just neck cranked down, looking at my phone for at least 10 minutes trying to look something up.
Looking like an old man having it up against your face, like, with the big letters and everything.
Like, you ready, dude? They don't have any LMGT4s here. Yeah, let's go.
That'd pretty much be it. I'd look for LMGT4s and then hit the vending machine, pop a coffee, and then be like, so what's up? But yeah, I mean, Up Garage was cool. It was definitely like a good experience, a learning experience to say the least, because, you know, just being Americans with this idea in our heads that it was going to be just like, you know, like we expected to walk in and have turbos lining the walls, LMGT4s as doormats. Like we were like, you know,
our expectations were a little high. Yeah, I will be honest there.
Yeah, but so that's what you got to realize if you're headed there. Like, sure, dude, go have some fun, have a little scavenger hunt.
But don't be expecting the world from these places.
Right, don't, because there was
you'll be upset.
Another dude that was in there 10 minutes before you expecting the same thing.
Right,
and maybe he found something and you won't because he did. So, and we did notice like maybe some other people like scavenging for parts too.
Yeah.
Like you could kind of tell the ones that were in there.
Yeah, they were white dudes.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I mean, it was definitely a thing. But so, yeah, that's like Up Garage pretty much. I mean, they sometimes will sell stuff from other brands. Like we went into one and they had a bunch of Moon Eye stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, they kind of collab with other brands and carry their things sometimes, which I thought was pretty cool. And they always have like the necessities. Like right now, Big Dog over here is waiting for a set of valve stems for his wheels for
I should have picked them up while I was there.
Yeah, because right now we can't go to a place and get legit valve stems.
Right, especially at where we are.
Like, yeah, and so, but in Japan, you walk into an Up Garage and they have 7 different brands of valve stems, including Ray's, like right there, like ready to go. So, yeah, I mean, I wish we had something like that wasn't like a AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts. Those definitely cater to just more, I don't know, basic.
Right. Just more generic and
yeah. So, Autobox though, you know, kind of switching gears here. Autobox is more of like a package parts store where like you're getting items that are brand new, but they have a large assortment. Like we went to probably 5 Autobox or so, and like the first one we went to was sweet. It was huge. Like had escalators for 4 stairs.
Yeah.
For a set of 4 stairs, they had a mini escalator. It was
What's
insane.
The deal with that?
I was like, dude, what is this? And like, I'm up and I'm down and I'm up. And it was just like, took 2 seconds. I'd never seen anything like that. But it was like a superstore or whatever, right?
Yeah, it was something special about that one.
Yeah, they had their own parking garage. And
right.
It
was a super Autobox.
Yeah, and they offered all the services we already mentioned.
Right, they had a pretty big shop.
So. Yeah, and so we, of course, are looking for like the tuner section. And something that we realized and probably should have prior was that a lot of these places, and specifically Autobox, has like scaled down their tuner section like quite a bit in recent years, just because cars are, well, A, getting exported from the country and there's less people to even buy the stuff, but B, they're getting older and older, and so
and the next generation is also not really into
those
as much.
Yeah, so we noticed what maybe once was a quarter of the store was like a 16th of the store.
Right.
You know, it was like just this little corner, and they had some dope stuff, and we each found some things to walk away with.
Some stickers.
Yeah, pretty much. But like not what you would really expect. Yeah. Like for what was always like kind of shown. Like I remember seeing videos of Autobox like 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, and it was just like one huge piece of the store that was all tuner stuff. So
you could tell they still had that like flavor, you know. It was just definitely scaled down,
minimized.
And you know, like all the manufacturers probably had like a decent sized display, whereas now there's only like 1 or 2 per store. Like that first one we went to, Tane had like a nice little display, and I think Blitz had like a little setup.
Same with HKS.
Yeah. So
Recaro. Yeah, no, it was that first one. The Super Autobox was like set up.
Right.
After that, it kind of got like more sad. So I'm glad that we went to that first one.
Yeah, me too. That one was definitely cool.
But what was cool is with that first one, we went upstairs, and there's like multiple food places and like a Americana store.
Yeah.
And
PGA Golf Superstore.
The little
Gonchapon,
is that what it is?
Yeah, the little capsule.
The capsule
machines.
Yeah, so that's something that we were always like everywhere we went, we looked at those to see if we could find. Joey Lee from the Chronicles had this one video that we watched like our first night. Yeah. And he found an RB26 motor in one of those. Like a little model.
Yeah. It just snaps together.
Yeah, so we were like looking for that like the whole time. Yeah. So there was a bunch of those machines up there.
We definitely came across some cool ones. Like there was one that had a bunch of little Nismo keychains. Yeah. Which I spent some money on that one.
Yeah.
Try to get them all, but
the GTR seats.
The GTR seats, which is kind of random, like
which I actually got at that Autobox.
Right. That was the one.
Same with the 180 that we got right in front of us right here.
Right.
They had like a few different, 180s,
and that's like a little model, and it just snaps together. I got a Sylvia, a 2-tone Sylvia.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually kind of intricate. You're like, oh wow, okay.
I haven't opened mine
yet.
Put this
together.
Yeah, I haven't opened mine yet. It's still in the little capsule, but.
So that was cool though. Like just eating that food, which the food was like, I think wasn't that American? Like, something I don't know, but it was just cool experiencing it and sitting down and having a good meal and kind of just chilling. That Autobox was like a vibe.
Up on this little mezzanine.
Yes, overlooking cool. The whole store, which we recently just started our YouTube channel and put all these on there. And so for this episode, we'll have some little videos and stuff that we took of these up garages and Autobox. So we checked out a bunch of Autobox. Like we said, the big one was kind of like the pinnacle.
Yeah, the first one was like definitely the best.
So then we still are stopping at them after that and kind of getting disappointed, and we kind of faded off on them unless like we were right beside one, which the last day we stopped at an Autobox that actually had a whole car wash at it and like gas pumps and all kinds of stuff. It was pretty cool. But the wash wouldn't work, so I just had to walk away because I needed like yen coins. There was something. I need a wash card for it or something. It wasn't like all the other ones that we had used. So we kind of got discouraged, and we went in, walked through that Autobox, and there wasn't really nothing in there.
Right, yeah, there was not much at all in that one. Like, a lot of them had Nismo parts, like just small parts, like the little accessories and
like oil change badges. I grabbed some of those, some stickers, little like trinkets and novelties.
Right. This one didn't have any of the Nismo stuff. It had TRD stuff actually.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see like the little variances.
And we had stopped at the used. We stopped at the used one to compare it to the up garages, like. Because most of the Autobox stuff, like we said, is brand new.
It's all brand new, right?
So there was one used spot, and we were like, let's try it out. Yeah, there was literally nothing.
Yeah,
it was bad. Yeah. We were like, damn, no more of these. Like, this isn't gonna work.
I think there was only a few of those, and it wasn't worth stopping in for.
Yeah,
you thought you might find something cool, but.
Yeah,
I can't remember one thing that I saw in there.
So if you're looking to go to these places like we did, I'm sure we missed some stuff. I'm sure we left some stuff out of just this podcast period. Yeah. But my advice would be to stick to up garages and stick to the ones on the west side and further of Tokyo. That's where I felt like, beyond like the mega up garage.
Right.
I felt like once we got past like center Tokyo, we started seeing more parts
Right.
that were actually desirable.
Right.
Whereas like the ones closer to the east side seem like more picked over.
Yeah.
But stop at them anyways, because these things are always rotating, and you might be the guy that gets lucky and walks in right after a drop and finds that one piece that you're like
Right.
really looking for.
Right. And yeah, I mean, don't go in there expecting the world, because you'll probably be disappointed. I mean, if you're patient and you have your eyes open, you're really looking, and you know what you want, you could definitely find something. Like I said, I walked away with a Nardi steering wheel and also found a set of Takata harnesses at a later store. So like, yeah, just keep your eyes open. Don't get discouraged, and definitely don't expect too much.
Yeah, just make it fun. You're exploring a country, and you're taking in like the things that they consider to be like standard, and just enjoy it regardless of if you find that gem or not. You know, it could be your only time ever going there, so just take your time and check it out.
Right, and have a plan if you do find that one thing that's a little bigger than your carry-on.
yeah, have a plan, because you may really want to scoop that.
Right.
So that'll probably wrap it up for the Up Garage Autobox episode. If you have any questions about these places, feel free to hit us up. We'll definitely try to help you out. But otherwise, make sure you check us out on Instagram at RHDGUYS, and now on YouTube. Just type in Right Hand Drive Guys. But for now, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yep.
Take it easy.
See ya.